Hey y'all, and welcome to the Liberty Loving Kitchen, where the first ingredient is always love. I'm your host, Barry Patton, and joining me as usual today is my dad, Patrick Patton.
I do.
And today is a day that the two of us have long been waiting for. We are so excited to show you how we make our thin crust pizza dough. So let's get started.
That's right. It's fairly simple. We'll start out and put my glasses on here so I can see everything. Now all the measurements are weighed. Everything's done by weight. I have a spreadsheet here where we're going to do 500 grams of flour. I use a King Arthur bread flour. From there we'll use, that's based on 100%. So we have 500 grams of flour. 6% of that by weight will be fat. It could be, you can use a vegetable shortening, you can use olive oil, we use lard. I think lard makes it best, especially for the thin crust.
Which, if you haven't seen our video rendering lard, it will be here. Take a look at it.
So 6% of the 500 grams that we're going to use of flour will be 30 grams of fat. 1% is going to be instant dry yeast. We use safe instant yeast. That's a pound that's been unopened, but we keep it. This has been frozen. We keep it frozen until we use it. Then we put it in a bottle and use it out of the refrigerator. There'll be 5 grams of yeast. 1.5% of the total weight of the total flour weight will be dry milk. This is whole dry floured milk. 1.5% salt, 1.5% sugar, and 38% water, or 190 grams. So anyway, I'll show you what we mean by all this. We'll start by doing our flour first. So we need 500 grams of flour.
And again, this is bread flour. We use King Arthur. I would imagine any bread flour would do.
We have 500 grams of our flour here. Bread flour has just a slightly higher percentage of protein in it than does regular all-purpose flour. Our next ingredient is going to be fat or lard. We're going to use, let me tear this. We need 30 grams. So I'll pull out, that's 26, 31. 31 is what I call close enough. So we have our 30 grams of flour, or I'm sorry, lard. We'll go ahead and put that in there into the dough mix. Next we have 5 grams of instant yeast. And I'm going to get another.
And that's different from active dry yeast, isn't it? That you would usually use to make like other.
No, it's safe. It's called safe instant yeast. It is a dry yeast. It is active though, so you'll see. You won't see it on this one. In our other dough recipe, you'll actually see it bubble up. But we'll show you something on that in a second. So 5 grams of our yeast. There we go. We'll put that in there. Tear it out again. Dry milk. Same thing, or not, actually 7.5 grams of dry milk. So I'm just looking for 8. That's close enough. we go, 8. So 8 grams of the dry milk. Seven and a half of salt. I tear after each one, even though everything should be emptied out. So we'll just call that 8 again. 8 grams of salt. And sugar. We need 7.5 grams. So again, let's call it 8. And that's what we actually had. I measured that earlier.
And I think sugar is a big part of what makes the yeast activate.
It does feed the yeast. You need a simple sugar like that will feed the yeast off. On my other one I use honey. So next we need water. Before I do the water, I'm going to take all of our dry ingredients and the fat, and this is a little odd, but I put it in. I actually use a food processor as opposed to my mixer. This dough, because it's so dry, it just comes together better with a food processor. So anyway, I'm going to pulse this for a second and mix all the dry goods up good. That'll also work the fat in, obviously. Now, we need 190 grams of water. So I will put this cup on here. This is the Campese's cup, which we made this dough in honor of. Campese's is a Dallas thin crust pizza joint. And that's what I'm trying to replicate with this dough recipe. So I'm trying to get 190 grams.
Dad's been making just regular pizza crust for a number of years, but just fairly recently he started trying to figure out how to make thin crust pizza dough, and it turned out really well. So well, in fact, that's now our go-to pizza crust. It's really good and cracker thin.
I'm going to also use you'll see me do this. Most times I use this.
Don't try that.
I override the safety feature. So now we're going to add the 190 grams of water. And you're going to notice this is a very dry mixture. Let that run for just a minute. Move all these things out of the way while it does. It's got a very meal type of a consistency to it. Alright, so I want you to, I can smell the yeast though, it smells very nice. So anyway, look at the dough here, you'll notice.
And while he's getting that out,
it's a very, I'm not going to get it all out here, but you see how it's very crumbly, very, very dry, which is not at all like our other dough. I'm going to put that back up in here. And what I'm going to do, I didn't do this at first, I will
before he turns the food processor on, or after, I need to remind our audience to smash that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, be sure to leave a comment down in the comment section, and share this video with anybody and everybody.
Everybody. So you'll see that's kind of mealy right now. I'm not sure if you can see it as well as I would like, but it's just it's not a sticky dough at all.
Almost looks like sand.
Yeah, it would be very hard to form right now. I'm going to come back in an hour and hit this a couple more times real quick, and then I will move it to our container, and what we'll do at that point is let it sit for about 24 hours. So we're actually hoping to eat this. This is a Friday afternoon. We're hoping to eat this tomorrow. We can eat it anytime tomorrow if we wanted to, probably. But we will be eating this either Saturday or Sunday. So it's good for up to a week or 2 weeks in the refrigerator. It didn't really get funky that fast. But the yeast will have an opportunity to do its thing. And you'll see even after an hour, when I reincorporate this, it will come to a much smoother consistency. So anyway, we'll be back in an hour, show you this, then we'll move it to our bowl. I'll let it sit out for about probably another hour and let it start rising up a little bit. And then we will do a slow rise in the refrigerator overnight. And then y'all will see what we do with it after that when we roll it out and turn it into a very good pizza. So
we will see y'all back in just a little bit here on the Liberty Loving Kitchen.
But in the meantime, what should they do?
Oh yeah, I still need y'all to smash that like button, leave us a comment down in the comment section, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you never miss a new video, and share this video. We'll be back in an hour.
We appreciate your help. All right, see you shortly.
All right, we are back, and our pizza dough has been resting in the food processor for about an hour. So what's next?
Well, we're going to pulse it a couple more times. The yeast has had a little time to activate and start to pull everything together. So that should be all it takes. What we're going to do now is I'm going to dump it all in this bowl, get a total weight, and I hope you can do this in your head.
I bet I can.
Bet you can?
Yeah.
Now we put in about a total of 747.5 grams of ingredients. And I've got 745 right here. So this should make about 3 crusts. So we're going to split this 745 3 ways. Well, if it's 750, it would be 250 a piece. So we're going to go 248, and that should get us right there.
I spoke too soon.
I am embarrassed.
No, you're not.
Now you can see, earlier you saw it was very mealy and didn't want to stick together. Now we'll kind of stick together. That's way too much. 251. So I'm going to take a little pinch. 247. So we're going to call this a dough ball. And it's still got a coarse texture to it compared to the dough I'm accustomed to working with. This is going to be a little heavy. There we go. 229. 236. 240. 242. That was just a small pinch, wasn't it? 246. And that should make the rest of it pretty close to the same. But if we were working with our hand tossed dough that I've been making for many, many years, 249. So we're perfect. I'm going to take these 3 balls and I will put them back here. Now we're going to give the yeast time to work. I'm not going to come back again till tomorrow when we actually make this and turn this into pizza. But right now we're gonna let this sit outside for about an hour. Let the yeast do its thing again. And then I'll put it in the refrigerator. It'll spend the night in the refrigerator. And then, like I said, today is Friday. Tomorrow, we will make pizza. So it'll have about 24 hours. I like to give it at least 24 hours to rise up, and then we'll roll it out tomorrow and make pizza. So thank you for joining us. We'll see you in just a second in this same video.
All right, and be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and leave us a comment down in the comment section, and share this video everywhere you possibly can. And we will see you in just a little bit.
Thank you.
All right, we are back and we have finished making our thin crust pizza dough. And again, this pizza dough recipe is my dad's attempt to emulate the dough used at a Fort Worth pizza restaurant called Campese's that my parents really enjoyed eating at when they were visiting my dad's very best friend Mike Roberts and his wife Melissa. So shout out to them if they're watching, which I hope they are.
Should I shout out to them? Hey Mike, hey Melissa.
All right, so we've got our dough separated into 3 little balls that will become individual pizzas. And so now we're going to take you through the process of assembling the actual pizza and then baking them in the oven.
So we split our dough up into 3 equal parts, and what I'm going to do is work it out a little bit by hand initially. And this is a very dry dough, not like the biscuit video. It's not like my traditional hand tossed pizza either. So it's pretty easy to work with. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to get my scraper out. Scraper comes in very handy. So I'm going to work it just by hand to get it kind of flat here. Get it started in this round shape. I don't usually need to add much flour. I might put a little down here just due to how dry it is. It's not really necessary, but I'll put a little on there just to keep it from sticking. And I'm going to just work this out. I know a lot of people think you shouldn't roll dough, but I can't. I've done it both ways and I can't tell much difference. So this roller makes it a good bit easier. Once I get close to my final shape, I'll work it mostly out by hand.
Have you ever tried to throw your pizza dough up in the air like they do at the...
I have definitely thrown it up in the air. Dropped it every time.
I would too, so I understand. And I have enjoyed Dad's regular hand-tossed pizza for as long as he's been making it. But I have to tell you, this thin crust is my new preference. I think all of us would say that in the family too. Probably. It's really good.
What about you, camera guy?
I like it much better
Much better?
than the hand tossed.
Much better. What about your old camera guy?
You know, I don't know.
He wasn't as pretty as our new camera guy.
Is it a guy?
Well, guy is a generic term for yuns, I think. So I'm going to work that out a little bit more, but I'm going to let that rest for a second while I work these other 2 out.
And while he's pounding that out, I'll go ahead and remind you to press that like button, subscribe to our channel so you never miss a new video. Hope you've checked out the ones we uploaded recently. Leave us a comment down in the comment section, and remember to share this video with anybody and everybody.
And don't feel like you can't watch the old videos again. That's okay too, right?
Well, yes. Of course.
do like working with this dough much better than the other dough too. The other dough was very sticky. I don't always, I can't get this one as perfectly round as I could the other ones easily. But it usually works out pretty good. You can hear from my voice that I put a little pressure on it to get it out. And one thing, sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't, but I will occasionally par bake the dough. And today, for this demonstration, I'm going to take one of my doughs and I'll par bake it on a minute on each side. And then I'll do the other two, just as I usually probably do. I don't notice a big difference in them, but there might be, par baking you might make it a little bit crispier because both sides get cooked. Now I believe the secret to a nice crisp dough is how you cook it. You can have the best recipe in the world, and if you don't cook it on the right surface.
That was the word I was going to suggest.
I think that it will not live up to what it could. So I've always, I guess I've been cooking pizza for 7 or 8 years. We were in the old house, so somewhere around there. But I got 2 pieces of 3/8 inch steel plate cut to about 1 inch, where it has about 1 inch on every side so the air can circulate around it. And then I preheat that on my oven's hottest temperature for about an hour to let that heat really soak into the steel. And that's I guess a cooking stone's probably good too. But I know the properties of steel, from what I understand, steel will transfer its heat energy into the dough faster than a ceramic stone will. This is a dough docker. I know some people like bubbly crust. This is supposed to prevent your crust from bubbling up. And it does a pretty good job of that. Some people like the bubble. I prefer it not to bubble, so I dock it.
Sort of similar to what some people do when they make pie crust, so that the steam escapes. Pie bakes.
Makes sense. I don't think I've ever made a pie crust like that. I'm not a...
I never have either, but I watch a cooking show occasionally.
Let's see, I'm working this out at the end. Get it stretched out as much as possible. Trying not to tear it up. So this one I'm going to go ahead and par bake. I'm going to go ahead and get my timer set for 1 minute.
Is it time for you to tell them about the special flour that you use, or is it not time for that?
Well, we did that in part 1, in the earlier part of the video.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, the semolina.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you meant the, yes. Yeah, I'll go ahead and put it on this one.
I didn't know.
It's more important. Semolina is a It's a pretty coarse flour. I use it primarily just to ensure that the pizza releases from my my pizza pill. So I get that on there, and you can see the coarseness of that. It's kind of a yellow flour, but it makes it slide off pretty good. And I'll oftentimes put a little right here too. My wife likes me to use it because it leaves a pretty good mess on the floor. So I'm ready to do this now. I'll get the camera around here so you can see this coming in here. You can see the 2 pieces of 3/8 inch steel plate we have, and I'm going to drop this first one in here, and you can see it just slides right off. And that is hot, 550 degrees. And I'm going to par bake it for 1 minute. Then I'll flip it over and do the other side for a minute. I'm going to come back around here and I'll get to work on these other 2 doughs while that's going. But to Bear's point about the semolina, I use it where it really is more beneficial is our traditional hand tossed dough, which is a much wetter, harder to work with dough. And for many years, I would actually put wax paper on this, go like this, and then back here, and I would have the wax paper. Then I would lay it in the oven, and then pull the bottom out, which would kind of act as a conveyor and pull this out and keep it from sticking. Flip this over real quick. Now, let's see what 1 minute does in that oven. You can already see the nice crispiness, browning of that dough. Go in there. Give it a minute on the other side. But another thing, besides just making it easier to transfer your pizza, the semolina is also good for, it gives a nice rough texture to the bottom side of your dough. I'm sure you've had it when you have a dough that's got some grit on the bottom of it. That's usually because they use semolina or semolina. So since I'm not par baking these are going to be ready to build. I'm going to lay them here for, go ahead and put a little more semolina underneath them. A lot of times you can have a crust that is not sticking, but if it sits somewhere for a while, it will start to stick. And there we have it. This is a par-baked crust on both sides, and that's the most done side, so I'm going to put that up. I'll build a pizza on that crust. That will require no more semolina, and then I'm going to build these 2. Get my toppings here. Now we're all pepperoni. My other son was here. He likes Italian sausage on his. And we'll buy boar's head Italian sausage and have them slice it up. So I'm just going to use the regular low moisture mozzarella you find in a bag at a grocery store.
Let us know down in the comments what toppings you like on your pizza.
And you can see that that's not sticking at all. And if you watched our cheese video, which should be up by the time you see this one, here's the mozzarella full fat mozzarella. I'm going to put all of this in here, and it's a little clumpier, but mixing it with the other mozzarella will help negate some of that. And I think I'm going to throw in, I don't do this every time, I'm going to give me a little handful of extra sharp white cheddar. I'll just give it a little kick there. I'm not going to use all that, but it does give it a nice little flavor. And I've got a little bit left of this Parmesan, so I'll just go ahead and put that in there. You can't have too many or too much cheeses, in my opinion.
So not only is this a thin crust pizza, it's a 3 cheese thin crust pizza.
3 cheese pizza. Well, we can go more. So I'll put that in there, put the lid on there, and get everything mixed together so it's everything's spread out. Now, I am going to start building my pizza. I put just a little bit of our homemade marinara sauce on here.
Check out that video here.
Or there?
Yeah, sure. Or wherever. Y'all know how to find cards, video cards, probably.
We don't like a ton of sauce. I don't think this is a ton of sauce. So we're going to just take this and get a nice little even coat on there. I like to use my brush. Sometimes I'll just use a spoon, but the brush lets me at the edges pretty good. So everything's got a little marinara on it, or pizza sauce. There we go. And we'll do the same thing right here. Pull that over so you can see it better. I usually put about, for this size pizza, about 2 big spoonfuls. And that'll give us a nice flavor, but not overdo it either. And you can see how fast that steel at 550 throws off the heat into the crust to get that. I know when you're cooking regular bread they call it oven spring. So I guess that's what it's still called here. You can move that around easy too, so it's easy to handle when you do that. So I take my cheese mixture here. I got a few those little matzo balls in there. They're sticking, but that's okay. I try not to make too big of a mess, but I don't try real hard. Is that right?
Huge mess.
And if you don't think you would like the extra sharp cheddar, obviously when you're making this you can put whatever you want on there. We're pretty simple. We all like pepperoni, so we're going to do pepperoni.
You've put the white cheddar before?
Mm-hmm.
I've never noticed.
You've just forgotten.
I'm sure you've told me. So yeah, probably did just forget.
Here's our par-baked one. Nice thing about cooking them in the oven with the steel is they cook really fast. So once these get in here, the ones that haven't been par-baked, they'll be done in no more than about 5 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes tops. And this one will probably take about 4 minutes to get it all done, and they'll come out bubbly and very pretty. Alright, so we got some cheese on there now. I'm going to start building You want pepperoni on all of them, right?
Yes.
And this is your pizza, so you just put on as much as you want or as little as you want. I like a lot. Bear likes middle. And Mama Bear likes just wee or a little.
That's the pigs that did that.
Yeah, I was doing Goldilocks, I guess. That's Goldilocks, right?
Yeah.
Mama Bear likes a little. Baby Bear likes, you'd be Baby Bear, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, for this story.
Right.
And Betty would be Absentee Bear. And I'm Papa Bear. What I usually do is I just put the amount of pepperoni I like, and then if it's too much for anybody, you can just peel it off. That way, if something doesn't get eaten, which they usually do, then it still works for everybody at a later date. Do you have any other insights?
You know, to be honest, I just had something in my head and I forgot what it was.
So I've got just a little bit of this cheese left. I'll just sprinkle a wee little bit on there. And sprinkle it with a dab of shredded Parmesan that we mentioned our cheese video, didn't we?
We did.
And there we go. So we're ready to get back in the oven. Set a couple of these things out of the way. You got your timer, Barrett? You don't, do you?
I don't, because I don't know.
That's okay. So we're going to start with the par baked. Come around here. And I'll probably just cook this one all the way up. Get that one done. I'm going to set my timer for 3 minutes on this. Well, that's about one. I think we're good. I'm going to check it real quick. Good. Oh yeah, we're good. Watch that. I'm going to see the bottom of that. Look at that nice char.
Wait. You can't see
Can you
it.
see it?
There.
Oh, it's hot. There's pizza number 1. A little Molina on there. See if she objects. Can you grab that for me? Or just shut it off and set it to 5. And I'll get the second one in here. You got it? Mm-hmm. You got this? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Are you gonna put them down?
One on top, one on bottom. There we go. Hit the timer, please. And get out of the way here. And this is almost as exciting as watching biscuits bake.
It's just what I was trying to say.
I'm running up on 3 minutes. Remember, the first one came out of the oven was par baked for a minute on each side, and these two were not baked at all, so we should be we had to set that for 5 minutes. 5 maybe. Probably check it in 4. When I get down to 1, I'll just check the bottom of it.
When you pull it out, you get it right in front of the camera.
Barry, what was that? You don't remember that?
I wish I did.
I think.
No, I don't, but I do.
Good. Got a little char on top, a little char on bottom. Mamma mia! Look at that pizza. Ooh, that's some good pizza. Now this is the first one that we par baked. 1 minute each side, then an additional 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Cut this into 6 pieces. 6 pieced pizza pieces. Can you say it real fast?
6 pieces.
And
no, that didn't work.
look at that crust. That's a Gouda crust. Not Gouda. 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 And then here's the first of the no par bake. And I tell you what, this isn't going to have quite the crisp on bottom of it, but it's got a nice crisp brown color to it, and it's still not soggy at all. It's that's a nice crust too. So it just depends on whether you like it a little crispier. I'm just so excited I can't form my words right. Funny thing is, I guess that's almost every day for me, even when I'm not excited. But there we go. There's 3 pizzas. 2 regular bake, 1 par bake. One thing I will notice is the par bake didn't get quite as crispy on top, quite as dark on top. The regular bake, because it had to stay in a little bit longer, the toppings, so you've got a little char on there, on the toppings, but the bottom's not quite as done. And let us know what you think your favorite way is to cook this. Or better yet, try it and let us know which way you prefer. Honestly, I think my favorite way is the is the par bake. But it's both are very good. Some people like a little char on their toppings. I don't dislike it, but I probably like this a little bit better typically. You didn't even know I did it.
I don't
One
even
way or the
know
other,
the
did you?
difference.
You just say shovel it in, right? So we're
Something
gonna
like that.
stop the camera for 1 minute, make a couple thumbnail pictures, and then we'll be at the table. And we would like for you to join us for a minute while we sit down and Barrett will ask a blessing for us. But we'll be right back.
All right, well, we have taken you through the whole process of making our pizza, and we hope you've enjoyed it, and we thank you for joining us on another episode of the Liberty Loving Kitchen. And we'll see you very soon, but for now, I'm going to lead us in a prayer, and then we're going to get to eating.
Thanks for joining us.
Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity to gather together as a family and share time together. We ask that you bless this food to the nourishment of our minds, hearts, and bodies, and may it fuel us to better serve your purpose for our life. And we pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen.